The grand hospital stood tall against the evening sky, its glass windows reflecting the dimming sun as nurses rushed through the hallways and the faint sound of machines echoed from every corner. In one of the most guarded rooms of the intensive care unit, lay a man who had once been the heartbeat of the city's wealth, power, and influence. He was Richard Harlow, the billionaire who owned chains of companies, luxury hotels, and properties that touched every skyline. For months now, Richard had been in a coma after a tragic car accident that shocked the world. His body rested in silence, but his name still carried thunder outside those hospital walls. Inside the room, machines beeped steadily, monitors flickered, and the staff treated him like royalty, even in his unconsciousness. To them, he wasn't just a patient, he was the man who could change lives with a single word, a single decision. But little did they know that the greatest change was yet to come, not from him, but from the smallest person in that room. Maria, Richard's maid of nearly 15 years, stood quietly by the corner of the room. Her uniform was simple, her hands rough from years of cleaning, scrubbing, and working tirelessly for the household that barely noticed her existence. For many, she was invisible, a shadow moving silently in the background of the Harlow mansion. But for Maria, her work was survival. With every coin she earned, she fed her daughter, Lily, the only light in her world. Maria never complained, never begged for more, and never showed her tears to anyone. Yet her heart often broke at the sight of her daughter wearing old hand-me-downs while the millionaire's children enjoyed luxuries beyond imagination. She had promised Lily one thing: no matter what the world took from them, she would make sure her daughter felt loved. That evening, Maria had brought Lily with her to the hospital. The little girl, dressed in a faded red dress with tiny shoes that had been patched more than once, clutched her mother's hand as her curious eyes roamed around the large hospital halls. Lily had never been inside such a place before. To her, the machines looked magical, the doctors looked like heroes, and the nurses seemed like angels. But when she entered Richard's room, her small heart ached. She saw the men she had often heard about from her mother, the men whose grand house her mother cleaned, the men who once gave Maria extra money when Lily was sick. Now, he lay motionless, his face pale, his chest rising only because of the machines. "Mommy," Lily whispered, tugging at Maria's sleeve, "is he sleeping?" Maria knelt beside her daughter and brushed her hair back gently. "Yes, sweetheart. He's in a very deep sleep. The doctors are waiting for him to wake up." Lily tilted her head, innocence shining in her wide eyes. "But why doesn't someone just call his name? Doesn't he hear them?" Maria's throat tightened. How could she explain to her little girl what a coma was? How could she explain that sometimes people slept so deeply that even love couldn't reach them? "They have tried, baby," Maria said softly. "But sometimes, even calling isn't enough." Lily looked at her mother for a long moment, then back at Richard. Something inside her stirred, a child's simple belief that love was more powerful than science, that sometimes, miracles only needed a spark. Before Maria could stop her, Lily let go of her mother's hand and slowly climbed onto the edge of Richard's hospital bed. The nurses in the room gasped. One of them stepped forward quickly, whispering in alarm, she shouldn't be there. But for some reason, they didn't pull her away. Something about the child's innocence froze them in their tracks. Lily carefully crawled up beside Richard, her tiny hands gripping his much larger one. She leaned close to his ear, her voice soft and trembling. "Mr. Richard, it's me. Lily. My mommy works for you. She always says you're a good man. Please, can you wake up? Please? I know you're tired, but we need you." The room fell into a silence so deep that even the beeping of the machines felt distant. Doctors exchanged uneasy glances, nurses held their breath, and Maria's eyes filled with tears. No one had ever spoken to Richard like this in months, not as a billionaire, not as a powerful figure, but as a human being. The little girl's words carried something no machine could measure: pure, unfiltered love. For a moment, nothing happened. The monitors kept showing the same flat rhythm, his face remained expressionless, and hope seemed like a fragile thread ready to snap. Maria took a step forward to gently pull Lily back down, but then, something changed. A faint twitch appeared in Richard's fingers. At first, the staff thought it was a reflex, but then the machine showed a sudden spike, the heart monitor beeping more rapidly. Gasps filled the room as Lily gripped his hand tighter and whispered again, "I know you can hear me now. Please, don't leave us." The doctors rushed forward, checking the machines, shouting for assistance, their voices echoing through the halls. Maria covered her mouth in shock, unable to believe her eyes. The billionaire who had been motionless for months had reacted, not to medicine, not to therapy, but to the innocent plea of a maid's daughter. Outside the room, other staff and even visitors gathered as word spread quickly. The scene inside was unbelievable, a little girl in a red dress holding the hand of a comatose millionaire, his fingers twitching and monitors responding as though her voice had reached the deepest parts of his soul. Nurses exchanged glances, their eyes wide with awe. A senior doctor muttered under his breath, "This is impossible, and yet, it's happening." Maria's tears streamed down her face as she knelt beside the bed, whispering prayers of gratitude. For years she had been invisible, and so had her daughter. But in that moment, her little girl had done something no one else could. The hospital. Staff stared in disbelief, knowing they were witnessing something that science alone could not explain. And so, the story began, not of wealth, power, or luxury, but of a child's pure heart that shook the silence of a man thought lost forever.